All right, so we are if you are a guest with us today, we are in a 21-day Daniel fast. There's different types of fasting. Of course, there's a water-only fast. When Jesus was in the wilderness and being tempted by the devil, he fasted. He had no food to eat. It said that he was hungry. It didn't say that he was thirsty, so we assumed that he had some water to drink. So that's a complete fast. And then there's a juice fast that people have gone on where they just drink juices. And then what we're on is what's called a Daniel fast. And I guess the simplest way to maybe describe it, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, we got this stool for you. I was going to sit in that nice one, that big one. No, I was just kidding. Is kind of a vegan fast, so to speak. Similar to a vegan fast. No meats, no sweets, no sugar, no bread, no nothing good to eat. Just pretty much eliminate anything, no caffeine, nothing in us. I mean, nothing. There's a lot of stuff that we can eat, but none of it's really good because it lacks a lot of, just stuff that makes food good, cheese and all those things. So, but you know what, really, honestly, going through this, it's helped you really to honestly identify things that we might be addicted to. Hello? Caffeine. Many of you experienced the headaches the first couple of days. I drink soda. I drink a lot of sodas, but always with a meal or something. I have a Coke, or my go-to drink is Mountain Dew. And the first couple of days, I just had a dull headache, just kind of my body fighting, wanting that caffeine withdrawal. Some of you that drink coffee, you got to have coffee. And some of you, honestly, you still ain't been able to give up coffee. It's mastering you. It is your Lord. It is your master. It can do nothing for you but feed that caffeine. But you can break that thing. Amen. Listen, I'm not saying coffee's bad. Mountain Dew's bad. Coffee's not bad. Coffee's just bean juice. I don't know why would people want to drink bean juice. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the kind of fast that we're on. And I tell you what, I think the most important thing, the most important takeaway from this 21-day fast, this corporate fast that we're on, is this. And it's not necessarily the breakthroughs, the revelations, and those are awesome, those are great, those are needed. But if you take away from here and learn the value, the importance, the benefit, and the command of Scripture to fast, this would have been worth it. If it will teach you and lead you into a fasted life. I'll never be the same after these 21 days. I am purposing I am going to live a fasted life. And that means, that don't mean I'm going to stay on this Daniel fast for the rest of my life.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Honey, you ain't with me 24/7. Maybe while I'm with you. I'm just being honest with you. I still have visions of some things, My body is being cleansed, but my mind still needs some work. So I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to do a lot better. I'm telling you that. I'm going to do better. I'm going to purpose not to go back to Mountain Dews.
Amen.
Yeah. Maybe like Christmas and Easter. Like when some people come to church, Well, I'm not talking about you because you're here today. So, don't boo me. You might be booing somebody you know. All right, so today we're going to talk about the health benefits of fasting. So here we go. And I'm just going to sit up here and look because I feel like the biggest hypocrite up here.
How many of you who are on the fast or doing some kind of modified life change eating, how many of you are feeling a little bit better, doing a little bit better this week? Okay, how many of you are still on the struggle bus? Still, that's all right, raise those hands. That's okay. I am not an expert, but for the most part, I'm a healthy eater. But holidays, vacations can get you derailed and down the slippery slope.
I think one of the worst things for a healthy eater is having an unhealthy eating family.
Yes.
She has to make two different.
That is huge struggle to be, to cook for yourself healthy and then have to cook junk for them to keep them happy. But so it's been a really joy to be able to fix vegetables and they eat them. Now they don't necessarily like them, and we've had some successes and we've had some failures. So that we're not repeating that.
I have The reason, what's helped me is it beats starving. It does.
But
Those are the two alternatives. Eat these vegetables or starve.
So he's been doing good. But you know the Daniel fast, the Daniel plan, and this is a book that Matrice here gave us. I'll let you, someone hold that up. That's a great way if you want to continue on. It is just basically clean eating. And so, you know, if you need some help, that's a good book to start. But that, you know, this fasting and this plan, it starts with faith. You got to use your faith. Yeah. And because, you know, your spiritual health gives you that foundation for building habits and perspectives in your health in every area. I love the scripture in 3 John 2, and it's become even more clear to me. Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along. God wants us to be healthy. He created our bodies, and he made things for our body to make them function the best. And health comes from recognizing and using God's power in your life and treating your body, your mind, with the care that he intended. And when God guides, when he guides us into this fast, guides us into this way of healthing, he provides. He calls you, he equips you. You can do this. You can continue on. I encourage you, on day 21, don't just go hog wild and go off the rails. You know, have a treat or two, but continue on this way because it's good for you. And he wants you to live an abundant life. That includes a vibrant faith, you know, prayer and fasting and staying in his word and his presence, but also treating our mind and helping that. He wants us to have a vibrant body and a vibrant mind. Philippians 1:6 says, there has never been the slightest doubt in my mind that the God who started this great work in you, so this great work has been started in your body, it will keep you and bring it to a flourishing finish to the very day Christ appeared. So I want to encourage you today to continue on because see yourself as healthy. See yourself as not exhausted and stressed and out of shape or overweight. Food is one of the most powerful drugs in our planet. Food can heal. Food can reinvigorate your health. It can reconnect families. I've enjoyed being able to connect Riley and Rich. She's our 18-year-old daughter. They've been helping me shop, and they've been helping me prepare and put in intake, sending me Pinterest recipes that some are good and some are not so good. But it's reconnected us in a way. It helps our kids. Good, healthy food helps our kids to get better grades. It helps them prevent eating disorders, obesity, and even drug abuse. Food is medicine. It can improve the expression of thousands of genes, balance dozens of hormones, and optimize tens of thousands of protein networks. Every bite, think about this, every bite that you take is a powerful opportunity to create healing or infirmity. What you're putting in your mouth, that's either going to create healing or sickness. Real whole food that comes from the earth, food that was created by God, heals, while processed food created in factories harm. You know, the Daniel plan or the way we've been eating, the cleaning, is rooted in this very simple principle. Take out the junk and let the abundance in. If it was grown on a plant, then eat it. But if it was made in a plant, leave it on the shelf. You know, sugar, how many of you have had major detox from sugar? Phew, that was tough, wasn't it? Yeah, still tough. But sugar can mess with your head, can mess with you head to toe. Here's a few things that it affects our brain. Sugar gives your brain a huge source of that feel-good chemical called dopamine, and it causes a craving for more sugar. And after that sugary high, you can get jittery, you can anxious, and studies have shown that a high sugar intake can lead to a greater risk of depression. It can lead to depression. And then when you're depressed, usually what's the thing that most of us want to go to? We want to go to food, to sugar, to Ben and Jerry's ice cream, you know, or whatever it might be. Sugar can affect your joints. It can lead to inflammation, causing pain in your joints. Your skin, it ages you faster. Liver, pancreas, heart. Eating less sugar will lower your blood pressure, which is a major risk for heart disease. And your kidneys, if you have diabetes, too much sugar can lead to kidney damage or even ultimately kidney failure. Real food heals. Real food nourishes. You think about your great-grandma or your grandma, anything that she would recognize, that's going to be what you need. And anything fake food that she wouldn't recognize, that's what you need to leave out. I know I was raised on a dairy farm, and my grandmother raised, I don't even remember, because we had all our own beef, that we never went to the store and bought meat. We never went to the store and really bought any vegetables because we grew them. And during after summer, they'd can through to carry us through the winter that was healthy stuff. So, those are things. And there's a myth that's out there that says, well, if you eat healthy or if you eat well or clean, it's expensive and that cooking takes too much time. But, the research shows that you can eat well and with less time and less money than buying processed foods. Just a few simple tricks. You can shop, you can learn some new recipes, you can eat better, and it takes less time. I think our family has saved more money we haven't went out to eat. We went to Chipotle maybe twice. But we've saved money in not going out to eat and taking time, and that time that we've had together. And that our whole family has gotten involved, and we feel better. So real food tastes better, is more nourishing and satisfied, and it can eventually eliminate your cravings. And Matrice here has she's a great resource of knowledge. Both her parents were doctors, but not only that, as she, through her own experiences, has seen the effect of real food and processed food and too much. And so I'm going to hand it over to her and let her share whatever's on your heart.
Well, as Paula was talking, everything that she was talking about just reminded me of going back to, when physicians are sworn in, they take the Hippocratic Oath, and it's from Hippocrates, which is the father of modern medicine. And it's interesting if you go back and read the original version of it, but what we hear now, we know that they're supposed to do no harm. But what's infamous about his saying is he says, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And that has always stuck out to me because I think we are quick to, if something is wrong, we are quick to run to the doctor and want to get medicine for that quick fix. And we don't want to hear, change your diet, change this. And I will go ahead and say, I grew up probably just like everybody in here. I was not always on this health journey. In fact, when I grew up, we didn't live here in North Carolina, and every time we would come back to visit family, we would usually take a red-eye flight from California. So we would get here in the morning. My first stop was Waffle House. I wanted my pecan waffle and all, the bacon and all of that. And then a few hours later, we would go to Jim's Hot Dogs and get those red stained that probably isn't even real meat. So that's what I grew up. That's all that I knew. We had sodas, we had snacks. And the funny thing was, even though my parents were physicians, we weren't taught much about healthy eating. And as the years went by, I think my transition probably didn't come until I was in my adult life. And it was just my sister and me. That was the only sibling I had. And I'm sure most of you know my story, but in 2012, we found her dead. Just gone. She was 42. We were 18 months apart. And it was just that wake-up call. I think that you kind of lull yourself into thinking it can't happen. You just go along. If it's on the shelf, it must be okay. Even if it's in the bakery, it must be okay for you. And we are kind of like Pastor Rich. I wonder if we're related. We are sugar addicts. Our family was, let me not claim that. I'm not anymore, but my family has a tendency of loving sugar. And my sister, it was nothing for her to sit down in one setting and have a whole cake or eat cupcakes and things like that. And it wasn't until, like I said, when we found her dead, it was that after we got over the shock of that, I was like, we have to do better. We can't, just the grief when we realized with our family, I said, we can't go through this again. And my cousin Renee, I can't even find, where's Renee? Oh, there's Renee. Yeah, so, but Renee was with me when I found her. And, we just kind of all got together as a family and said, we can't do this. We can't go through this anymore. And then about that time, this challenge came along, and we decided to jump on board and do this healthy food challenge. And we changed. That was probably my turning point. But I did notice, I'm not talking about Renee here, but I did notice that some of us, after a few years, went back to our old habits. And then the day before Thanksgiving, Renee has a stroke. that, according to the neurologist, should have killed her. And so it's, God has been gracious to us. I realize looking back over the years that this junk that I have put in my body is not good for me. It's not good for any of us. And that's the thing I keep, Pastor Rich always says that there's a God side and a man side to everything. And God is healer. But, how are you going to say, Lord, heal me of this, help me with this, and you're just cramming junk in your body? And I promise I looked up Mountain Dew before you talked about it. It wasn't me, but, just take Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew has 73 grams of sugar in it. And if you want to know the conversion for how many teaspoons that is of sugar, divided by 4. So Mountain Dew has over 18 teaspoons of sugar in it. And sugar kills.
That's why it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why. I didn't know what it was, but that's it.
Yeah. It's all the
It makes
sugar.
sense now.
Yeah. I'm like you. God took me on a fast last year of sugar, and he said no sugar. And when I was going he started me in October, preparing me for 2019, and he said, I don't want you to eat sugar for the whole year. And I was like, I'm hearing you wrong. I really put that out of my mind. And then he kept saying, no, a year. And I was like, a day? No, a year, a month. And I was trying, and then finally I was like, okay, I got it. And so special occasions, he allowed me to have it for special occasions. But it really did break that. I cannot eat something sweet like that anymore without it. I just don't feel right. And the things that I used to crave. And the funny thing is, I still, when I see them, I want them. But as soon as I start eating them, my body kind of rejects them. And I'm going to put a little note in here, too. When you all go off this fast, we were just talking about this yesterday, be careful what you put in your body, because you don't want to end up in the bathroom all day. It is going to, you have to, and I'm serious, you've got to be careful transitioning over. But that is really, God designed our bodies for, everything that's in us is real, it's whole, and he didn't really design it for synthetic things. Now, I'm not saying that you can't indulge, because like you, I consider myself a meatitarian, so I'm going to make modifications. I'm not going to, I think I was already on a healthy journey, but I realized with meat and with dairy and cheese that I love, that I probably do need to scale back some things, so I'm going to make some more changes. But so it's okay to, and I wouldn't even say in moderation, you just have to be careful. I'm not saying to have the mindset that you can never again, but remember, this body is a temple that God blessed us with, and we are supposed to be good stewards of it. And just like if you gave your children, say if you bought them an expensive Mercedes and they just went out and put any type of gas in it, never changed the oil, filled it with all types of junk, you would be very upset, wouldn't you? And what's going to happen to that car? And, God, we're priceless. We don't have a price tag on us. And he created us for the foods that he put here on this earth. And so I love that saying, if it grows from a plant and not in a plant, you don't want things that you can't trace it back. Because if it comes from a factory, it is too processed. So, my parting thing that I was going to say, so even after my sister dying of a heart attack, that's what she passed away from, and then Renee with her stroke, and then my father had Parkinson's disease with dementia, and we just recently got back. We had sent his brain, part of his brain off for research, and just reading over everything that was in his brain was very hard. He had what's called Lewy body dementia. It's not as common, but just reading that he was stage 6 of 6 on this and stage 6 of 6 on that, and how his brain basically shrunk and was deteriorating. And I know that my father loved sugar. He was addicted to sugar. And that when you do your research, and that's what I'm encouraging people to do your research on, read labels. This food, this processed junk, it is very harmful for you. You can't just think just because it's on a shelf or in the store that it's okay for you. And unfortunately, and I'm not saying anything bad against doctors, because my parents were doctors, but even doctors, a lot of times they don't take nutrition courses. They will tell you will go there and they're like, oh no, you don't need to change your diet, you just need to take this medicine. No, that's not the case. But they aren't trained, they don't know, because they aren't taking these nutrition courses. Who's teaching them? The pharmaceutical companies are coming in and teaching them. So that's another day, another story. But just notice how good that you are feeling, how your body's feeling, and make those little transitions, because I will tell you, going through the process of losing a loved one, especially shocking, it is very hard. And even my dad, we knew that he was dying, but the day that, we're still grieving that. So it's a loss that is preventable. And if I just don't want to do that to my family before my time here is done. So.
Thank you, Matrice. Dan Cox.
Yep. Dan Cox. I said that kind of half jokingly, half serious, they say that, I love Krispy Kreme donuts. And I would be really, even if I don't eat them ever again, I'd be disappointed to drive by and see it closed down. Just because, but maybe it should. I don't know. But somebody once said that donuts will take 5 years off your life. And I reasoned, if I'm going to live to be 100 and I could eat Krispy Kreme donuts, I'd die at 95 and be happy. As long as I had the Krispy Kreme. But there's no guarantee with eating a lot of Krispy Kreme you're going to make it to 95. It's some stuff. There's just some different things that in looking through this stuff and doing more reading, that finding out that certain foods feed disease in your body. And it's amazing what sugar feeds. And from what I understand, sugar is a cancer feeder. It feeds on cancer. Red meat feeds heart disease and different things like this. Dan's got an interesting, wonderful story testimony. So why don't you share it, Dan?
Good morning, sugar lovers.
Amen.
Hey, what do you get when you cross? I got to do it to you. Mr. Potato Head with the California raisins. What Pastor Rich had for dinner the other night, he put raisins on his potato to get some sweetness out of it. Pastor Paula said that to me. I cried. I was laughing so hard. Everybody, my name's Dan Cox, and Pastors Rich and Paul asked me to tell you my testimony here. I got diagnosed with prostate cancer last year at age 56. So you guys understand, I believe in genetics. I got a grandmother who lived to 107, two great-grandparents, 102. My dad's 87. He's never passed a cheeseburger he hasn't eaten in his life. So I'm living on, hey, guys, I'm going to live to be 100. I'm going to eat whatever the heck I want to. And I always said, it's going to take something major in life to get me to change my dietary habits. God's got a sense of humor. And giving you cancer is a major effect in life. So that hit me this last year at age 56. And the doctors, the urologist is basically saying you got two options. You got a choice of surgery or radiation. And it's fortunately for me, I've got a brother that's a doctor as well. So when I got the diagnosis, naturally, beside my wife, the first person I called was my brother. And he actually introduced me to a gentleman named Sean Russell. Sean's 47 years old right now. He got diagnosed with late-stage prostate cancer at age 42. Was told he had 18 months to live. His cancer was so progressed by the time they found it, they said surgery and radiation it was a waste of time. They basically just told him to go home, get him some quality of life, and spend time with his family and get ready for the next chapter of his life with the Lord. And fortunately, Sean is a believer and a very strong Christian. That's definitely helped grow his strength. But Sean, my brother, introduced me to Sean. Went up to Pennsylvania, met with him. He shared a lot about the same story. They didn't talk to him at all about nutrition. They said, we're going to give you some chemo that might give you an extra 6 months worth of life. But he started researching prostate cancer-specific dietary changes in his life. And basically, here he is now, 6, 7 years later, he's 100% cancer-free. No surgery, no radiation. He just wrote a book. It's called They Said Terminal, God Said Life. So I'm actually reading it. It's a testimony of what he and his wife went through. So fortunately, again, I thank the Lord every day for putting Sean Russell in my path to give me a chance to share his research and give me the opportunity to change how I live. Like Pastor, I love my sugar. You get me a half-gallon ice cream, I'd eat it in one sitting. Biggest thing for me is Doritos. You get the big grab bags of Doritos, not the little ones. That's for amateurs. You give me a big bag of Doritos, I'm watching a football game, that whole bag's gone in one sitting. Again, you know what? I'm fine. I got genetics. Grandma Mater, she loves Doritos too. She's 107. And so, well, that didn't happen for Dan. So through this journey of meeting Sean and listening to Patrice actually has me laughing. It's and what Pastor Rich has said. One of the things he asked me to do was watch a documentary called What the Health. And again, strongly recommended for everybody. It'll teach a lot. But
Clarify what that was again.
What the Health is a documentary on Netflix.
What the health?
And it's exactly.
He talks kind of fast. What the health?
Yeah. I'm a Yankee from up north. I talk fast. You got to listen faster. But it's, it'll educate you a lot. Though. One thing I learned
does,
in
it's
that,
good.
in my life and what I'm fighting through, I've got to get rid of all sugar. Cancer loves sugar. Cancer loves red meat. Cancer loves all meat. Cancer loves hormones and preservatives and all the stuff that's in all of those. Those chicken legs that you're seeing at the store, that's not natural. That's a chicken that should be like 10 years old, and that thing's been put on the shelf in less than a year. So 80% of all pharmaceuticals aren't sold to humans. They're sold to the livestock and poultry industry. 80%. And that's the stuff that's inside our bodies every single day. And I love me some chicken. You put me on my Traeger grill and get smoking that up there, and I haven't had chicken now for 9 months. And I don't know if I'll ever have it again after watching and learning what I have. But at the end of the day, God's created our bodies to be able to heal themselves. And it's and a lot of the stuff that's being put in, it's not God-made. It's man-made. It's made in factories, and it's not good for our bodies. And it's again, to hear me talking like this, people, you don't understand how strange this is for me to talk this way. Again, it's because my wife, I love to cook, and she said my greatest skill was making unhealthy food less healthy. And it's but through this journey and talking to Sean, I changed my lifestyle. I became a vegan. I guess technically I'm a pescatarian because I eat a little bit of fish, a little bit of shrimp here and there. If I am going to do fish, I'm making sure it's wild caught. You don't want farm-raised fish because guess what? Hormones, steroids. They want those fish to grow bigger, so we can have bigger. That piece of flounder that's yay big around, that's not natural. It's if you go fishing for flounder, that baby's been out there for a long time. It's that big. So at the end of the day, you got to watch what you're eating. We read the back of every doggone thing that we buy. And the word sugar. The food industry has created 55 different words that hide the word sugar. So if we get to the point now, if it's got more than 2 or 3 ingredients in it, we just put it back. Half the stuff I don't know what it even means. College educated, I have no idea what it means. My brother's a doctor, he has no idea what it means. And so we sit there and spend a lot of time. But at the end of the day, we've cut out sugar, no hormones, no preservatives. When we go out to eat at a restaurant, we bring our own salad dressing. You cannot find a salad dressing on the shelf that doesn't have sugar in it. And you just can't find it. We bring our own butter. We found some plant-based butter. Again, so there's a lot of great things. One thing I did learn, these vegans, and I guess I got to share a story. I've got a daughter-in-law that's a lifelong vegetarian, and a couple years ago, I found a T-shirt at a truck stop that showed a animal doing something. It says, "My food poops on your food." And I got her that T-shirt for Christmas. She sent it back to me and just said the word karma. So she's had some fun, but we got to understand it. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves through prayer. God has created us to eat a certain way, and and I want to just share with you guys how. And basically, when the Daniel plan, we said we're going to do this fast, my wife and I were kind of snickering because heck, we've been doing this now for 9 months. And I do got to thank my wife because she is the rock behind this. Because the first weekend we came back from meeting my brother and Sean, went to Whole Foods for the first time in my life. We spent $227. The only thing I recognized was a bag of grapes and a bag of apples. Everything. We had something called flackers, flaxseed crackers. They're not good. They're not good. But there was so much stuff in that cart. I had no idea what it was. I called my brother, "Bro, I'm just getting the surgery. I'm going to go back, eat my burgers, eat my steak. I'm getting the surgery." My wife just literally took the phone in my hand and said, "Suck it up, you big wussy." And so thankfully, she's been an absolute godsend. We spent a lot of time. Our cooking has changed drastically, but it's been a lot of fun. But we did find out these vegans have figured out. They found out to have some flavor. And the first thing we made was vegan mac and cheese. Not so good. On day 2, I was ready to quit again. But it's been 9 months, folks. I haven't had any sugar that I know of. I do travel for my job, and it's really, really tough when you travel to go to restaurants. They put sugar in everything. But at the end of the day, we've got no preservatives, no hormones, no sugar. And I wanted to just share what this has actually done for me from a health standpoint. And I had some blood work done in September. So I got some great news to share. First and foremost, folks, I used to take 20 milligrams of lisinopril for blood pressure. And within 2 months, I was off of blood pressure medicine entirely. My glucose level was high. It was 138 in 2018. My last blood test, it was 112. Normal ranges go up to 99, so I still got a little bit of work there. Again, getting that sugar out of your body, it's a tough thing to do. I do a lot of the natural sugars from the fruits that we have is there. Cholesterol, it was 221, not a good number. It's down to 167. It's in normal ranges. Triglycerides, they were 137. They're down to 70, well within normal ranges. My HDL keeps going. That's the good cholesterol. It was a 39. That's actually gone up to a 45. My LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, was 147. It went down to 108. You're hearing these numbers, guys. I thought I was healthy. I mean, I'm going to live to 100 because my great-grandparents and my grandmother all lived to be over 100. So I wasn't living a healthy life. Then you look at your LDL, HDL ratio. Again, that's down to a 3.7, 0 to 5. I was right at the edge of being put on diabetes medicine. My hemoglobin A1C was 6.4. And and basically you go up to 5.6 to be considered normal. Last September, that was at 5.6. But more importantly here, folks, is my PSA. 2 years ago, my PSA was 3.4. In October of 2018, it had raised to 5.1. One thing, I work for Glen Raven. It's a great company. They care about the wellness of their employees. So I had blood work done through the company. Our company nurse said, Dan, you need to go see your doctor. I didn't even have a local doctor. I hadn't been to the doctor since 1985. Aside from seeing my brother every now and then, hey, check out my heart, how am I doing? But I had not had a physical since 1985 when I got out of the academy. So I kind of blew that off. A month later, I went back, I don't think that was a good number. Can we check it again? My PSA, in 2 years it was 3.4, went to 5.1, then a month later went to 5.4. That got my attention. I read somewhere online, the internet, because everything's just so good on the internet that you learn. That maybe if you had like a kidney infection, that can give an elevated number. So all of a sudden I thought I had a kidney infection. So I blew it off again for another couple months. Went back in February, and now my PSA had gone up to 5.9, and that was a red flag. I finally did get a local doctor, referred me to a urologist, got a great urologist here in town, and went and had a biopsy done, and they found cancer again. So changing this lifestyle here, guys, and literally we started our diet on May 6th, and by, when was this blood test? September of 2019, it had gone from 5.9 down to 3.8. Normal ranges is from 0 to 4. And folks, this is purely from faith, a lot of prayer, and again, acting accordingly. And going to what Patrice was saying before, it's like when you're saved, you got to change. If you're out there killing people and you accept Christ as your Savior, then you keep killing people, I don't think that's what it's meant. Likewise here, God put this mountain in front of me for a reason, and I had to change the way I was. I had to act accordingly, and the biggest part was changing just how I eat. And at the end of the day, guys, I lost 30 pounds. Nice little positive byproduct. Had to throw out a lot of clothes, cost me a lot of money, but you know what? I don't mind if I lose another 10 or 15. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Awesome. Here you go, Paula. Take that for me. You may be here today and you may be thinking, well, that wasn't very spiritual. It's extremely spiritual. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 16 says, do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit? That our bodies, literally the Holy Spirit lives in us, and we should take care of them. And like I said, I feel like the biggest hypocrite saying that in front of you, because I always up here joking around with the foods that I eat and stuff like that, and Mountain Dew, just kind of almost throwing it in God's face, so to speak. So again, this Daniel fast that we've been on as a church is going to be a lifestyle change for me. Like I said, I can't see myself doing this the day after the 21 days. There has to be a missed day somewhere in there where I get to, I don't know, drink some water with sugar in it or something. I don't know. But God loves us. He loves you. And I really believe this with all of my heart, that these 21 days, these last, 14 right now, we're 2/3 of the way through. We got one more week to go. Next Sunday at 12 o'clock, we'll be off the Daniel fast, so to speak, as a church. But again, I encourage you to let this begin to be the jump start of a new lifestyle, if that's something that you need. Like he said, Dan and Amy, they've been doing this for nine months or more. That is their lifestyle. But again, it certainly isn't my lifestyle, but I want it to be. I want it to be better. And so I encourage you to, because we want a healthy church. I'd love to know this next week. If maybe somewhere on the Connect card next week, maybe we'll do this next week. I'd love to know, if you've been on this fast, how much weight you've lost. and then we'll combine it together, and we'll let you know the next week the total. I bet we've lost maybe close to, what do you think, 100 pounds? That we think we could do 100 pounds? More? Paula thinks we've lost more than 100 pounds as a church. So we'll check that out, and that's a good thing. So worship team, you guys are up here. If you guys would come on up and go ahead and take these things off. Let's all stand. Oh, what I was going to say is this. I believe this with all my heart, that these, when we're done, it'll be 21 days that we were fasting and praying, a corporate fast together. I believe these 21 days will go down as probably the most beneficial 21 days in our 21-year history as a church. I really believe that, especially if we do get the greatest revelation of this is the importance of fasting. And some of the videos and things that I've been looking at online, it shows some graphics and stuff and some animation of what fasting does to your body. And Paula read this last week. If you weren't here, she read this thing because it really popped out to us, because after about day 3 or 4, I've been standing and believing God for healing in this elbow here. And I'm telling you, it was hurting like, wow, it hadn't hurt this bad in a long time. And all of a sudden, was your back or your knee? Paula's back was hurting, and I thought, well, that's strange. And then she just happened to run across this article that talked about that's a symptom of when you're fasting. Those are symptoms that you'll experience, and it's actually a good thing. It's a detox. You're detoxing. Your body is trying to heal itself, and that's God's designed our bodies to do this. If you don't believe it, you ever cut yourself, you ever fell down when you were a kid? Let's go all the way back to then. You scraped your knee and it scabbed over. It didn't just, God designed our bodies to do that, to heal themselves. And so it's always trying. So the food that we're eating is working against what our bodies are trying to do. So as this going through this detox, all these things now, your body's working and it's trying to repair itself. So that's good. So listen, if we got one more week to go, and if you're new, if you're a guest with us, or if you're a regular attender and you haven't been able to do this, I encourage you, jump on board with us this last week. Jump on and just pray with us. We're praying for breakthroughs in our lives, breakthrough in our churches, in our church, and just God to give us things that open our eyes, open our ears. God, is there anything in our lives that's not pleasing unto you? And just take an inventory and join in the fast with us this last week.